Hey friends, it's nice to see you again. Well, I actually can't see you through the camera, but it's been a long summer, back to doing videos. How do you like the beard, by the way? My wife likes it. If she likes it, I'll grow it. Hey, one of the things I wanted to do today is talk about the signs of the times. And the reason is because September is very spiritually active. And there's a lot of things on the Jewish calendar, especially the feasts coming up. But not only that, there are so many things that have taken place over even the last week that I want to talk about where we're at on the roadmap of Jesus coming back. What point are we at? Are we at like the last exit? Is it time for us to get off of the road and be raptured? We'll talk about that right now. All right, so let's start with Matthew chapter 24, because this is where the disciples literally asked Jesus, what will be the sign of your return? Jesus promised he's coming back. He said it over and over again. And if he said he's coming back, he's coming back. You know, we thought Arnold was coming back, right, in Terminator, but Jesus is definitely coming back. So let me read Matthew 24 to lay a little groundwork here. In verse 3, it says that as he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming, and at the end of the age? And Jesus answered and said to them, see to it that no one misleads you. One of the things, the number one sign, number one, and I'm going to stress this, number one, first thing Jesus mentioned is that we will be lied to. Misleading, you know, the Greek word is to be deceived or to be lied to. To be deceived means to be told a lie, but it's presented as truth. This thing right here to me just kind of exploded last week because we have been lied to on a global scale, not on just a local scale. It is global. You know, we're told, and again, I'm not getting into politics, don't get mad at me, but we're told that we're not in a recession when the book says, the definition of recession says, at least 2/4 of a negative GDP equals recession. Well, we're told that's not the definition. They're changing the definition. Inflation is at a record high, highest in 40 years. And it went from June to July, it went up. But we were told that, it just went up a little bit. Gas prices are still high. They're $1.50 more than they were 2 years ago. But we're told, they're coming down. You know, be happy. They're low. No, they're not low. They're still high. Food prices, crime is at an all-time level. My point is, the number one is that we're going to be lied to. Listen, we were told, and again, I'm not getting political. You can shut me off if you want, but we were told the vaccine will stop COVID, will keep you from getting COVID. Then after 6 months or a year that everybody's still getting COVID, we were told that it would lessen the symptoms. So, you know, what is it? Either or. It can't be both. So this lying to is on a massive scale. Number one. Number two, it says, for many will come in my name saying, I am the Christ, and will mislead many. And you will be hearing of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not frightened. For those things must take place, but that is not yet the end. For nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and in various places there will be famines and earthquakes. But all these things are merely the beginning of birth pains. So we've had these issues going on, right? You know, we've had earthquakes, we've had wars, we've had, you know, nations against nations. Actually, the Greek word is ethnicities. We've had race wars. So we've had these things. But what makes this and today different than, let's say, 100 years ago? Why are we saying that there's signs, these signs, taken into consideration, the signs that are taking place now are different. That's what we're going to explain. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of signs. Why, all those things that I just mentioned have already taken place, but why is today a little different? Number one is because Israel has been made a nation again. Isaiah 66, and I'm reading it in the Bible, it says that Israel will become a nation in one day. You see, in order for Jesus to come back, Israel has to become a nation, has to be a nation. Right after Jesus, was crucified, about 40 years later, less than 40 years later, Israel was scattered. The Roman Empire came and destroyed the temple. Israel was scattered everywhere. So in order for these things to come to pass, it says this generation, the generation that sees certain things shall not pass. So Israel had to be a nation for Jesus to come back. That is key. So Israel did become a nation. In I think it's I have it written down here, May 14th, 1948, Israel became a nation, and it literally became a nation in one day, fulfilling Isaiah 66. And here, if I get to it, let me grab it real quick and read it to you. Isaiah 66. If you have time, sit down, get your Bible, get a notebook, because we're going to discuss a couple of things here. I got a lot of scriptures. This is real important, okay? Because I'm sounding the alarm. Because if your heart's not right, you may miss the boat. Jesus can come at any moment, and we need to be ready. It's not going to happen, it could happen next year. It could happen in 10 years. It's really up to him. But one of these signs that I'm going to mention, to me, raises the alarm, raises the flag. So here, let me read Isaiah 66 to you, verse 8. It says, "Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such a thing? Can a land be born in one day? Can a nation be brought forth all at once? As soon as Zion travailed, she also brought forth her sons." It's talking about Israel. Interesting thing is in Ezekiel 37, it basically says the same thing. And Ezekiel 37 comes before 38 and 39, which we all know is going to be we call the Ezekiel 38-39 war, which is Russia and those nations descending and attacking Israel. So Israel had to be a nation. Israel hasn't been a nation for until 1948, 1900 years. So now that Israel is a nation again, the clock starts. All these prophecies are now being fulfilled, one right after the other. Israel being a nation was probably the biggest the thing that started the clock again. So we are headed right to the finish line. End game, folks. Jesus is coming back. Israel becoming a nation is number one. Number two, the Hebrew language was going to be restored. It says that in Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9, that God was going to restore the Hebrew language. The Hebrew language, scholars say, is one of the purest languages out there. The Old Testament was written in the Hebrew, but it was lost for 1900 years. When Israel was lost, when Israel was destroyed, Jerusalem was destroyed, the Hebrew language disappeared. The only thing that kept it going was the Old Testament. Whenever they read the Old Testament, specifically, the law, they read Hebrew. You see, when Jews came back from Germany, because a lot of them lived in Germany, some in Ethiopia, Russia, when they were dispersed throughout the world, the Jews spoke a German Hebrew dialect. They made up words. They spoke mostly German, because that's a lot of where they came from, and they mixed it with some Hebrew. But now, Hebrew language is the national language in Israel. It is what is spoken. That pure language is restored. That's huge. That's a big sign. It's never happened before. Two things. A nation has never come back after being gone for 2,000 years, and the language has never come back after being gone for 2,000 years. Only God. These are huge signs. Let's go to the next one. So the next sign is the foxes. Believe it or not, foxes are a sign. In Lamentations, it says that after the temple was destroyed the first time, that foxes would come on the Temple Mount, and it would be not a curse, but it would be an embarrassment to the Jews that now foxes, or the jackal it's called also, jackals are there and they've overrun the Temple Mount. It was more of a shame to the Jews. But then it says, when they return, right, they were going to disappear. When they come back, it is a sign that the temple will be rebuilt. That is happening. There are already plans. They're already rebuilding a sacrificial altar or temple behind the scenes. And so that temple being restored, the third temple, is another huge sign. And the fact that the foxes are back, first time, 2019, I think they returned. The foxes are back means the temple is coming back. Now, let me give you another one. Ethiopian Jews, they returned. I think it's in 1970s, Menachem Begin, it says here, said, "Where are the Ethiopian Jews?" He says, "Go get them and bring them home." That's in Isaiah 11. It's another sign that Jesus is coming back. Let me give you this one. This one's interesting. Predatory birds are in Israel. I read this. If you go to Israel, type in birds, Israel now, one of the major tourist attractions is bird watching. Because Israel, you know how small Israel is. Israel, they claim, has 500 million birds. 500 million. That's 500 million birds. They said it's never happened like that, and it's only been since 2017 that all these birds have showed up. And on top of that, there are 127 different categories, it said, of birds of prey. That is in Ezekiel 39, verse 4. God said that he will call the birds of prey to eat up all the dead bodies that take place after the Ezekiel 38-39 war. In other words, the birds are there, they're in place. So the Ezekiel 38-39 war is being set up right now. So, that one, big one. And, oh, by the way, it's called, and you can look this up, the 500 million birds and the bird watching is called the eighth wonder of the world. Can you imagine that? God did this. God spoke about this in Ezekiel, that these birds are going to show up. They're ready. They're at the ready because there's going to be a massive slaughter. God is going to destroy Gog and Magog when they come in to attack Israel. Okay, let me give you the last sign because to me, this just happened. Okay? 3 days ago, red heifers, 5 red heifers showed up in Israel. They were delivered, they were shipped to Israel from a ranch in Texas. A Christian man in Texas, a Christian farmer in Texas, has been raising heifers, cows, heifers, for the sole purpose of the sacrifice. You see, the priest cannot offer sacrifice without first offering a red heifer and cleansing himself, I believe it says, with the ashes of a red heifer. So in other words, the sacrifices cannot begin in Israel without a red heifer. There has not been a pure, unblemished red heifer in this world for 2,000 years. Unbelievable. 5 red heifers. This man this rancher in Texas, a Christian man, has raised 5 pure, unblemished red heifers, and they've been already inspected by the priest and certified by the priest, the Jewish priests, that they qualify for the sacrifice. They have been shipped to Israel, and they landed there 3 days ago. Boy, folks, we are really close. We are really, really close to Jesus returning. I'm going to just ask you this. If you've not made Jesus the Lord of your life, or if you're not living right, you need to do it now. You need to give your life to Jesus because He is coming back. Be ready. Keep looking up. The King is coming. Hi, my name is Artie Casimas. Thank you for watching the last video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and by all means, subscribe to our channel. We have many more videos coming out. They're going to be short, sweet, to the point, just the way I like them. They're not going to be long sermons, but they're going to be full of the Word of God. Also, we ask that you consider becoming a monthly partner. Go to our website, www.wordalive.us, and go to the Give tab. And please remember this, Jesus is Lord, and He's coming back real soon. God bless you.